Hi, this is Jorge, head coach at E3 Training Solutions. Today we're going to share video number 3 in our educational series to help athletes understand and use training concepts to enhance their training. We're going to focus on critical power and critical velocity. When we talk about it, we don't mean any super special power that will magically make you go fast, but about a physiological parameter that can help you train wisely and with a purpose. First, we're going to do a quick review about video number 1. In there we discuss parameters of thresholds. Specifically we focus on maximum lactate steady state, which is the point at which lactate accumulates in the blood at the same rate as it clears. We use the analogy of water being poured in a funnel where the water is lactate accumulating. The faster we exercise, the faster it accumulates. We explain you that it works in a way that when we go from rest to exercising a little bit faster and faster, we're accumulating lactate on the blood at a faster rate. Eventually we cross different thresholds, first the lactate threshold, and then eventually we reach the maximum lactate steady state. This is the speed that we roughly may sustain for a 10 to 15k when running or 20 to 40k when cycling. The higher speed at maximum lactate steady state, the better you will perform. It is very trainable, and we can use it to determine training zones and model training programs. And its relationship with critical power was discovered by Dr. Coyle, where he figured out 1 hour at maximal speed correlates well with lactate threshold and maximal lactate steady state. Hence, speed at MLSS is the best predictor for performance in endurance sports. And we can estimate this by doing a field test as opposed to having to go to the lab. To illustrate this, let's assume we ask you to do a series of maximal tests. First, we ask you to go very hard for a shorter period of time and you will achieve a particular power. Then we ask you to do a longer test as hard as you can and then we'll achieve a little bit lower number. If we continue to do that for longer durations, what you can see as we plot this on a graph is that the curves begins to level. At the point that this leveling occurs, this is what we know as critical power. Therefore, CP is a power at or near our MLSS and an intensity you could sustain for 40 to 60 minutes depending on your fitness. This is important because exercising below this point, we can do more work for longer periods of time, while exercising above it, we can only do limited work. The equivalent for this when running or swimming is critical velocity, which works in the same way, except the curve is inverted because the faster that we go, the smaller the pace, and vice versa. CP can be calculated using Dr. Monod's model, which describes the work-time relationship to differentiate between aerobic and anaerobic work capacity. In simple terms, it's a way to compare your work capacity for different periods of time, anything longer than 3 minutes and shorter than 30 minutes, and use these results to estimate the power or speed you could roughly sustain for around 1 hour. To estimate it, you can use a formula. I won't go into detail, but basically you need a power meter and do at least a few tests of different durations, a shorter and a longer one. We use a 5 and a 20-minute test, and with the numbers we use it to estimate your critical power. If you don't have a power meter, you can estimate your MLSS with a heart rate monitor. However, this is a little more tricky and less accurate, and is something we'll discuss in coming videos. You can do the same for swimming and running using critical velocity, and same thing, you do a couple of tests, different durations, and then you can estimate your speed. However, if all this math talk is making your head spin, just go to our website, enter your numbers on our calculators, and voila, get your numbers. Let me clear a few misconceptions about critical power. CP is not what many people refer to the hardest they can go for a particular period of time. That's simply inaccurate. Also, it's not related to a term called critical volume. Let me tell you something about this coined term. It is nothing but a made-up term, it is not a physiological parameter, and it is pseudoscience, so you'd be better off if you avoid it. That way you can also avoid scaring more puppies. In summary, MLSS is the higher level of exercise while maintaining a steady lactate accumulation in the blood. Knowing it can help you manage your training and predict performance. Critical power and velocity highly correlate with MLSS. This roughly equates to the speeds you may sustain for a 10 to 15k when running, or the power for a 20 to 40k. And you can estimate it using field tests. In coming videos, I'll teach you different field tests and how to determine your training zones. For now, thank you.